Hey guys, it's Otti again. I'm sitting here in Oberhausen at the Kulttempel. Besides me is Andy from COMBICHRIST. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Yes, hi. Hi people.
People.
You know him? If not, maybe you can introduce yourself. What's your band all about?
It's COMBICHRIST, you know? It's COMBICHRIST. I don't really have much to say. We've been doing it for so long. It is what it is at this time. I can't even remember why or how or anything. It's just COMBICHRIST now. And here we are in Oberhausen again. Yeah, at Kulttempel. It's kind of like my I feel like it's my second home in Germany here at Kulttempel. I like this place a lot too.
And you're touring with MEGAHERZ at the moment, and JANOSCH MOLDAU.
Yep.
And it's a big tour all across Europe.
Yeah.
One has to say you are from Norway originally.
Originally
but live in USA.
Yeah. Originally from Norway. I lived in Germany for 3 years, long time ago. And then I moved to the US, and I've been in the US for 20 years now. So, but obviously very often in Germany still, and also Norway, of course.
Yeah, last time I saw you was on Amphi Festival, for example. We had this old school set. And we can describe your music as like something like industrial, like
it's
how would you say?
I hate to make names for it because every time I do, people take my word for it, and then 3 years later, you said it was. I always like to change up and continue, but of course it's the core of it is the industrial and industrial metal and electro and stuff, of course, mixed in. So I always say it's like a industrial core, you know.
Okay.
We definitely it's definitely a mix of everything. We play even live. We play a lot of old material that is very electro, and some stuff that is very industrial. But with the band and everything, it transfers really well live with new stuff and old stuff both when we play live. But like you said, we also do the electro sets sometimes where it's just me and a keyboarder. And to play old electro, just pure electro stuff, and which is also fun. But I need to mix it up myself to make it interesting, you know.
Yeah, see, that's what I wanted to talk about, because you never stood still. You always have changed yourself and redefined yourself, and everything started even years before COMBICHRIST with ICON of COIL.
Yeah,
what was rather a synth electro band.
Yeah, it's a little bit more, synthie pop, a little bit mixed with, the future pop stuff. And at the time, that was that's what I wanted to do at the time. I really came from a completely different scene before this. I came from hardcore and metal and stuff like this before ICON of COIL, and that I did from 92, 93. And then, so most of the 90s I was doing mostly hardcore and punk and metal stuff. And then when I started doing electronic music, that's when I started with ICON of COIL. It was more, like I said, synthie pop stuff. And it just developed and developed, and then the electronic music got harder and harder. And then suddenly I kind of started bringing in the elements from my metal and hardcore things back in again. So it's like a complete circle, or like I like to call it a born again COMBICHRIST.
Okay. Yeah, that's good word. Yeah, but it's interesting to see. I've met lots of people from the metal scene, for example, that do electronic music. So how did this start? Did you have someone gave you a synthesizer or something, or?
I always liked it, and I did something on the side, because actually the first project I ever did was when we were kids, in the late 80s. I was actually trying. I didn't, but I tried to do hip hop,
Okay.
But we were like metal kids we found this. We kind of discovered this in Norway in the end of the 80s,
like clothing or something.
Yeah, more like actual hip hop. But it was with Public Enemy and stuff like this. So But of course we didn't really know what we were doing, so it sounded like absolute shit. But
did you rap in English or no?
In English, which was horrible, absolutely horrible. And I'm very glad I don't remember, and the lyrics was absolutely horrible. And if I had a recording of it, I would delete it. Nobody should ever hear it. But so I already had at least the flavor of programming music and being in the studio working with electronic music. And also I saw Nightshade really early. I saw Nightshade I think 88, I think, with Depeche Mode when I was a kid. So I had this, you know, the whole time in the background I knew of the scene, and I knew of the scene, a lot of friends in the scene. And in my hometown, the music scene is a very big music scene in a very little city. So everybody knows everybody. So if you play grindcore, you might play in a synthpop band the next week, or if you play in a black metal band, you might be playing in a punk band next week, or the industrial band. It's such a small city, you know. So it was very involved, like, you know, Abatik Berserk was, of course, we grew up together. It's from the same city, and other bands like Sweep, Echo Image, Spectralized, and you know, there's so many bands coming out of my little city from this scene. But yeah, so it all came natural. It just all came natural. I think the reason why I decided to do electronic music was I was so tired of band members. So and everybody was, oh no, we can't go on tour, I have to work, or somebody had suddenly had a kid, or oh no, I quit the band. I said, you know what, I'm just gonna do electronic music, so I can just do it myself. You know?
Have one keyboard in the back and you can sing.
Easy. Yeah.
And you do it still good with the old school set of COMBICHRIST.
For sure.
And sometimes Icon of Coil.
Yeah, sometimes still Icon of Coil. Yeah, we actually finally actually working on some new material after 20 years since the last album, you know.
And there's a big fan of Icon of Coil.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, but back to COMBICHRIST as itself. So with all this music, you went back from punk and metal scene more to dark and gothic scene. At least in Germany, it's more divided, I would say.
Yeah.
So how did all this change your view on music? All the bands you met, all the people you met?
I don't know.
Festivals, for example.
Like for me, it's very natural. Just like I said, because of the background from my city, like where it's a lot of music with very few people. So everybody knows all the underground music. It's not so divided, you know. Some of them are very divided. Of course, you have the extreme fans. Of course, there still are people who, you know, every time I release something, don't forget about your background for COMBICHRIST. And I was like, well, that's actually metal and hardcore. If I go far enough back, and then you have the metal purist who is like, when I do old school shows, it's like, oh, it's just a DJ set, you know. But this is the purists, and that's fine. They can listen to whatever they want. But I always been interested in every style of music. I never really been so hard part of just one scene. I love the different scenes. There's different things with every scene that has cool things to it. And I'm inspired by all the different scenes. So even with pure electronic stuff, I'm still inspired by the energy from hardcore and punk, for example. And I think that's what really made maybe COMBICHRIST stand out in the beginning when it was just electronic. Was the energy was different because I had the inspiration from other style of music, and not inspired by the bands in the same scene. You know?
And is this some reason why we went to the USA? Because it's maybe more open-minded and more divided in music scenes and musical arrangements?
At this point, I have no idea why I moved to the US. I mean, I moved because obviously I wanted to move to the US. I thought it was great. I loved being there, and I still love being there, even though people are crazy. But I feel people are crazy everywhere, so it doesn't really matter, you know. But I just found out that making music, it doesn't matter where you live. I travel all the time. I'm in Europe all the time. I'm all over the world, really, at all times. Like I travel everywhere. So when I come home, it doesn't really matter where it is because I'm just home. You know, when I go home, I don't really go to the club. I don't go to see much shows. I go home. I spend time at home with my girl, my animals, and in the studio, and I don't really care what city it is or what country it is at this point.
May I ask what kind of animals you have?
Sorry?
What kind of animals you have? May I ask you that?
Right now, we have a little pug. It's an old lady. She's an old pug, and she is 13 years old and the sweetest dog. She's completely deaf, but she's amazing. And a cat, a old black cat with way too many fingers, which is a really cool little guy. And some snakes and some unwanted lizards from we live in the desert, so we get some unwanted lizards and birds coming into the house all the time. So we always have a little extra animals. But not too long ago we had chickens and stuff too, but we moved, but we're moving back into the forest again soon, and then there will be chickens again. It's one of my favorite animals.
So now we have to come to an end because you have a busy day today, meeting fans,
I do.
Having a show or something like this.
Something like this.
So the final question has to be, we had an EP last year with COMBICHRIST, heads off. So what's coming next? What can people expect or at least hope for?
Finally, das neue Album is coming out, yeah. But next year, I'm finishing it up now. So finally the new album, of course, Heads Off and Compliance, Not My Enemy. These songs are on the new album, but there's also a lot of new material, of course, and we're working on it, almost finished. I actually just got off the phone with the director for the new video, which is going to be very exciting. Very, very exciting. It's almost like a movie. It's cool. Really fun.
So great. I thank you for now. It was a nice talk.
For now, for this time. We'll see you again. Huh?
Yeah, hopefully. And you, thank you for watching. And see you next time. Bye bye. Cheers.
Bye bye. Tschüss.